Welcome to the GCN Show.
Welcome to the GCN Show, brought to you by Wiggle.
This week, as Game of Thrones fever grips the world, or at least parts of it, we tell you which are the best bits of Westeros for cycling, including fat biking beyond the wall in Iceland.
And if that's completely meaningless to you, as it is to me, don't worry, because we've also got the results of last week's War on the Roads poll, plus some great news for commuters in the UK and the US, and much, much more.
Are you serious? You've never watched it?
I've not watched a single second of Game of Thrones. This week in the world of cycling, we learned that being a mountain biker can really come in handy when you're out on the road.
Full sang our victor. Oh, that was close.
That will be the first in a new segment which we've decided to call Near Miss of the Day. That's Jakob Fuglsang there, himself a former under-23 mountain bike world champ, showing us his skills and keeping it rubber side down against all the odds, quite frankly, whilst en route to victory at Liège-Bastogne-Liège at the weekend.
I still can't believe he held that up.
Oh.
We also learnt this week that being sponsored by Rafa doesn't automatically make you stylish. You still kind of need to be able to dress and undress yourself. Here's Mike Woods finishing 5th in that very same race with one leg warmer
than the other.
Yeah, so see what you
To be fair, we knew that riding for Rafa doesn't make you stylish because there's that video evidence.
Oh, because you rode for them,
with a mullet, yeah. Anyway, this week we also learned from bicycling.com that if you suffer from Game of Thrones fever, you will have to get yourself over to Northern Ireland to complete the Westeros Cycle Tour, which is a 2.5-hour ride apparently, that takes in a whole stack of filming locations from the series. Now, it is going to be tough. Apparently it's 4 kilometres long, but you do get a free sword if you do the official tour.
Well, who wouldn't want to ride along with a free sword?
Well, exactly.
Pretty cool. I had to make do once, you remember, with a baguette.
That's a classic, that one, isn't it? Now, I confess that I too am slightly gripped by Game of Thrones fever at the moment. Not to the point where I would plan a holiday to go and look at.
I don't think you're too far off. You've taken yourself off social media so don't get any spoilers, haven't you?
Well, that is true. But no, I wouldn't plan a holiday solely around that. But what if the filming locations were also amazing places to ride your bike, where effectively is the best place in Westeros to cycle? Now we're talking. No? You seriously not seen anything?
I told you at the start, I haven't watched a single second of Game of Thrones.
All right, well, let's start with one that you would definitely want to ride. This is called Dark Hedges in Northern Ireland. It's actually only been used once in Game of Thrones as the King's Road. But look at that. You'd go there just for your Instagram feed, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, it does look pretty cool.
It looks amazing. Definitely worth a detour. And then once you've done that, go a little bit further south to the Mont Mountains. Loads of filming locations there. Very bleak, very beautiful. Some cracking riding.
Bleak. Yeah, out of interest, have they filmed in any more exotic, or at least locations with better weather than the UK?
They have, mate, many. You can't argue with Girona, would you believe? The cycling mecca of Girona, home to GCN Espanol. That too has been a scene. Again, King's Landing, the Cathedral Steps. But King's Landing? Cathedral Steps? No? Okay.
I'll take your word for it. I wouldn't pass up the opportunity any day of the week to go and ride in Girona because it's amazing. And the city itself is amazing too, isn't it?
Après ride.
Actually, when we were down at Ameryh a year or two ago, didn't they say that a few Games of Thrones scenes have been shot around there?
They did. Well
One
remembered.
was at beach, Zumaya Beach, and the other was the steps at the San Juan de Guachalaya.
Guachaluche.
That was the one, yeah.
Very well remembered, yeah. Both scenes from Dragonstone. No? To be fair, we can vouch for the riding in the Basque Country, can't we? I mean, we filmed a retro versus modern, literally a stone's throw from Zumaya. It was the retro versus modern where I unfortunately broke Pedro Delgado's Vuelta winning bike. That was a bit embarrassing, that.
That was embarrassing. Great riding again though at the Basque Country, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely amazing.
If a little bit on the tough side for my liking these days. Super steep climb.
Hilly, yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Anyway, back to cooler climbs, because from what I do know about the Game of Thrones, and from what you've just been saying, bad weather and stark landscapes appears to be a theme of the...
Stark landscapes. That's a cracking pun.
Is it?
Is it? Come on,
know
mate.
what I
You know.
just said.
You know, yeah.
But I was reading up on it, and Iceland is one of the big filming locations at a glacier, apparently, that you and Neil must have been pretty close to when you were filming there.
Yeah. Yeah, some epic riding there, for sure. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a bucket list destination, seeing as there's not actually that many roads to ride. But if gravel biking is your thing, there's nowhere else like it. Nowhere.
I have a feeling you might need a fat bike for some of the terrain over there, from what I've seen.
Well, yeah, and the weather.
Also, it says here, mate, that Lake Moverton is where Mant's Raiders Wildling Army Camp was built in Season 3.
It was, yeah.
And that the nearby cave of Grudgigud is where Jon Snow, the Channel 4 news reporter, where Jon Snow and Ygritte sleep together.
Yeah, that was a good bit, that one.
And the Murdalsjökull Glacier, meanwhile, becomes the Fist of the First Men.
Yep. Honestly, mate, you would absolutely love it. You've got to get into it. More exotic location, perhaps, than Iceland. Croatia. That's been a big part of Game of Thrones scenes, particularly the home of King's Landing, effectively. Dubrovnik would be the place to go if you want to geek out on that. Not necessarily the best place to sample Croatian cycling, is it, Dubrovnik? The country's not very
No, you wouldn't be riding very long before you got into Bosnia and Herzegovina and also Montenegro. Although, actually, those are two places I have always wanted to ride my bike.
Yeah, me too, actually. They sound amazing. And then lastly, the most exotic filming location, Morocco. Ouarzazate. Oh yeah, that was the scene of a few bits of Game of Thrones.
Another place where you have recently filmed on location for Have you been ticking off Games of Thrones scene locations in your planning for GCN content? I thought so. I think we should wrap this part of the show up now, if I'm perfectly honest. If you, like Si, are obsessed with the Game of Thrones and also cycling, you want to merge the two together, your options then are Northern Ireland, Iceland, Croatia, Spain, and Morocco.
Yeah. You know where we're off to next?
Northern Ireland?
Oh, close. Croatia. Also, make sure if you're a Game of Thrones nerd, get involved in the comment section. Let us know which part of Westeros you think would be best for cycling. Ollie thinks Highgarden or possibly the Vale.
Let's move on.
I think probably Dawn.
Let's move on.
Okay. Right, now at this point in the show last week, we were talking about something far more serious, about whether or not there is a war on the roads between cars and cyclists. Now, Dan and I feel that there isn't, but we asked you at home what you thought and asked you to vote on it.
We did, and out of those of you that voted, 55% said that you didn't think there was a war on the roads, which rather worryingly means that 45% of you do think there is a war between cyclists and motorists.
Yeah, we also had some great comments on the subject as well. We'll go through a couple. Daniel Alvarado says there is absolutely a war, but it's not just about cyclists versus cars, it's about cars versus literally everything else. And he goes on to say, there is not a more pernicious example of the societal atomization than the car. And I'm not going to argue with that.
No, John Sidson made a good point too. Driving a car in traffic is miserable, but it'd be made a lot more miserable if 300,000 cyclists got off their bike and got in their car as well.
Yeah, it reminds me of that phrase, you're not stuck in traffic, you are traffic.
Oh, great phrase.
Yeah, thanks. And then we've got a slightly lighter-hearted one from Klem Hrastnik. There is a war on the roads. Absolutely, yes there is. It's between inner tubes and potholes.
Maybe go tubeless, Clement.
Oh yeah, like world peace in an instant.
We've been sent a very special message.
Okay. Hello, GCN. It's Jeremy Powers. Dan and Cy said to do something extravagant for the GCN show. But how can you do something extravagant when we're in a field in the middle of Ontario, Canada? So we're up here for the Paris to Ancaster race. We just finished it. Got mud everywhere. It was super awesome. So I'm racing a couple more events until I'm officially retired in June. And I'm really excited to be joining the GCN crew June 1st. So thank you. I'll see you all soon.
How exciting is that?
That is super exciting, isn't it?
Yep, Jeremy Powers is going to be joining us as a US-based GCN presenter starting in June. Now, although he's on the other side of the Atlantic, that's not just the only thing that separates us from him. There's also the fact that he amassed over 90 UCI wins through his glittering career, and the fact that he's universally liked.
That's probably the biggest difference, isn't it? It's not surprising, actually, that he's universally liked, given that he is one of the nicest people you're ever likely to meet. We should probably say, and we'd like to say, congratulations, firstly, to Jeremy, on an amazing career. And then also how thrilled we are that he's going to be joining us as of June. That's
Definitely.
Great.
Yeah, can't wait. Actually, we should make sure that we send him some of these brand new GCN 3D logo sweatshirts and t-shirts.
Oh, mate, that is the worst segue I've ever heard in my life.
I thought you might say that.
Yeah.
Right, shameless plug for the GCN shop then. We've just had a drop, which is what my 16-year-old son says when a new clothing range comes out. This drop is the 3D printed logo t-shirts and sweatshirts, which are over on the GCN store right now.
Yeah, now don't worry, they won't actually take up any more storage space in your wardrobe because that's just an illusion. It's not really 3D.
Actually flat.
It's only 2D, yeah. And the next exciting announcement, I think might even trump the 3D printed logos, is actually that the next 2 GCN events are now officially open for booking. So we've got Ameryh in the French Alps and Saalbach in the Austrian Alps.
Great cycling and a heap of fun with the key ingredients to Mallorca, which is our first event. Bit too much fun, actually. I'm still recovering to this very day. Anyway, the first of those camps is on the 1st to the 5th of August. That's the Ameryh one, which is a French alpine ski resort. There, along with the fun, we'll also be riding our bikes, including some of the key Tour de France climbs, like the Col de Jouplan.
Yeah, and then at the end of August, the 22nd to the 26th to be exact, you could go to the Austrian Alps. And some of the riding there, I'm told, is absolutely stunning. Some epic climbs, including the Grossglockner, apparently.
None of those have been used in Game of Thrones, have they? Anyway, we hope to see a few of you over at their next 2 events. Next up, it's GCN Inspiration. We're about to reveal our favourite 3 photos that we saw from last week, either on our uploader, there's a link to that in the description below, or over on Instagram, those photos that were tagged with hashtag GCN Inspiration. 3 wiggle voucher amounts on offer, £100 for first place, £75 for second, and third gets you £50.
Yeah, we will start off with that 3rd place. This one came in from Alessandro Cardona, and he is from Ivrea in Italy. He said, back to commuting. That's not a bad shot from your commute, is it? Look at that.
Why did you stop commuting? Even I'd commute to work by bike if the view was that.
Not in winter, you wouldn't, mate.
No, I wouldn't, that's true.
No.
Well done. Second place, though, goes to Drew Miner. Well, that looks blooming cold, doesn't it? Immensely grateful to be able to do this the same day as the morning of school.
Wowee, that's amazing. From Montana. That looks incredible. It looks slightly damp and cold, but I'd brave that.
Short sleeves.
Is he?
Yeah.
Wow, you wouldn't do that either, would you,
No,
mate?
it's all right uphill. Hope you weren't too cold in the descent. Maybe use your wiggle vouchers to get yourself some warmer clothing.
There we go.
Might have to
leg
share
warmers.
it though with his brother Craig, who took that photo.
Ah, okay. You can have 1 leg warmer each, like Rusty Woods. Right, anyway, that leaves us with 1 winner. First place goes to Dylan from the Seymour Demonstration Forest in North Vancouver, British Columbia. Look at that. Riding together in good team bonding.
Do you think that was staged, or do you think they just captured them as they were riding side by side in matching kit?
Well, Dan, the war on the roads would be pretty feisty if we rode 5 abreast, wouldn't it? But anyway, no, I appreciate that. That's pretty cool.
I just love that road winding through the trees. That, for me, is perfect. Well done to all of you. Let us know what you spend your wiggle voucher amounts on, whether it's clothing because it's cold or not. And reminder, if you want to enter the upload and description down below, and also the hashtag GCN Inspiration on Instagram.
It's now time for cycling shorts.
We will start cycling shorts with a little bit of a teaser this week because Wahoo have got something exciting coming. We've got a video about it on Wednesday of this week over on the Tech channel. So if you don't subscribe to the Tech channel already, make sure you do so, then hit the little bell icon so you get a notification when the video goes live.
Got a lot of new tech coming up this week, actually, haven't we?
We do. More on that later.
A small bit of racing news now, because the second oldest professional rider is about to retire, that being Davide Rebellin at the ripe old age of 47, almost 48.
Yeah. Now, Rebellin's one of those slightly controversial figures in cycling, isn't it? I mean, he did test positive. He did lose his Olympic silver medal. And he did put in some incredible performances over the year. He was the first rider to do the Ardennes Triple, still only one of 2 to do that. And you've got to say, haven't you, irrespective of exactly what he put into his body and when, being a pro cyclist at the age of 47 is unbelievably impressive, isn't it?
He's been riding at a decent level as well
Yeah.
to that point. I reckon he's a bit like a member of the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
It's incredible that he's still going, despite what he's put into his body over the years.
Yeah, that is a very good point. Yeah.
Love this stat as well from Matti Pirardi over on Twitter. Apparently 209 of the current 477 World Tour pros weren't even born when Rebellin turned pro back in '92.
Whoa. That's quite a scary stat, isn't it? But yeah, imagine the things that he's seen over the years. He first started out when like Chiappucci was riding and all those guys. Amazing. Anyway, last week we were talking about how amazing the cycling infrastructure in the Netherlands is, as illustrated by this map. But there is good news from elsewhere in the world too, starting right here in the UK.
Yes, this is a piece published in the Guardian newspaper which looks into the usage stats of bike lanes here in the UK. So starting with this one, which is the Leeds to Bradford Cycle Superhighway. So over the course of 2 years, there were reportedly 871,000 usages on bikes.
Usages.
Journeys,
Journeys, perhaps.
on that particular cycle superhighway. But what I thought was the most amazing stat was out of those 871,000, 30% of riders said that they were either new to cycling or returning to it.
That's fantastic, isn't it? And then down in London, of the super successful cycle superhighways down there, the East-West CS3 superhighway logged 1.654 million trips in just 6 months before the counters broke.
I'm not surprised they broke. I mean, I could count to 1 million, but I probably wouldn't want to.
No, it's a tough old job that, isn't it? Really tough. Anyway, there is great news in the United States as well, or perhaps keep our fingers crossed, great news. A congressman from Oregon, Eric Blumenauer, is introducing the Bicycle Commuter Act, which, if it passes, would give a tax rebate of $53 per month to anyone who commutes by bike.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
It's super cool, yeah.
Right, this next one's a bit of a weird one, Si. Vittorio Brumotti. Lots of you out there will have heard of this man, but if you haven't, he's pretty best described as a celebrity cycling stuntman. That doesn't make me sound too middle-aged dad-like. Anyway, he's featured a lot of times on Extreme Corner right here on this show.
He has. It did make you sound a little bit middle-aged. Not quite as bad as that conversation about the kit drop earlier on, but anyway. He has been dicing with death in a different way recently, though. In fact, he was the subject of a documentary on British TV where they were showing how he's now involved with fighting crime, and specifically the mafia.
I found this amazing because he's one of the most famous people in Italy, and yet he's managed to somehow go undercover and be filmed busting criminals there.
Yeah, it does stretch the imagination slightly, and I like the fact that he's been involving his bike in the kind of the criminal busting scenes. But anyway, there you go. It's a real thing. Right, now over on Zwift, there is some news because there is apparently the official launch of the first ever Zwift professional team called the Canyon ZCC e-racing team. I have a hunch it's actually the ZCC team.
Yeah, probably.
I don't really want to, I can't bring myself to say that. But yeah, good point. Anyway, it's comprising of 10 riders, 5 men, 5 women from all over the world. I suppose they can do because they don't have to be in the same room.
Oh, we say that, but they are going to be paid expenses to get to some of the key events. So
right.
We'll be in the same room then.
Okay, and anyway, the KISS Community Racing League is going to be their big outlet for competition.
Well, sticking with Zwift, last week we told you that there's a new section on Watopia that was completely flat and perfect for time trials. And Zip have taken that and started a time trial competition, which is going to be taking place on the 4th, 5th and 6th of May.
Yeah, it's called the Zip High Speed Desert Challenge. There are 3 categories, okay? A categories for men and women, and the distance for that race is the same as the men's UCI hour record, so set just the other week by Victor Campenaerts. 55.089 kilometres, I think, in the hour.
The B category is for women only, and that distance is 47.980 kilometres. You know what this is, don't you? It's the women's hour record set by Vittoria Bussi.
Yeah, and then the last one, the C category, is actually the first ever hour record, which is kind of cool. That's 23.331 kilometres.
And roughly what we can do for an hour at the moment.
Yeah. Well, you say that, mate. You did 34.5 kilometres an hour the other day, didn't you?
Oh, I did, yeah. Tailwind the whole way round, though. The prizes, though, are pretty amazing. They're up for grabs. Yeah. They are not for the winners. They are for people selected at random that are participating. But you might be able to get your hands on a pair of Zip 858 wheels, as one of the random people picked on category A and B. And then an SL70 Aero bar and Aero SL stem for the person picked at random on category C.
Yeah. The only thing I think people should watch out for, Dan, is given that the competition is over 3 days, is to just check the weather forecast. Because if the wind changes direction, that could totally screw with your time. So yeah. Anyway, it's open to everyone, so get involved. It's time now for Hack /bodge of the week. Before we get on to this week's hacks and bodges, we've got to go through a couple of comments from last week. Hans Schotteradler was making a comment about the clock that someone had made out of a piece of carbon fibre and an old chainring, which looked amazing. Anyway, he points out you'd probably want to use a 60-tooth chainring to make a clock. And that is a very good point, isn't it?
It is a good point.
You wouldn't wear one of those out in a hurry, but anyway, very good point.
Here's the next one, actually, from Just Jordan, who said, "You idiots."
Yeah, that is a good point.
Yeah, we get that quite a lot, but he has expanded in this particular instance. A bike computer has to be a little to the left or to the right because that's where you mount the transmitter on your front wheel. If you place it straight in the middle, it doesn't work.
Really? It has to be within line of sight?
Apparently. Well, maybe, maybe we should test it and try and put it in the centre and make us not be idiots. Right, we're going to start this week's hacks and bodges with 2 bodges, it has to be said. Stevie Picks spotted this on a bike that has been taken into a local bike shop. A piece of wood screwed onto the stem with a mount attached to the wood.
Whoa, that is terrifying. That is absolutely terrifying. Yeah, no, don't screw this.
A GoPro mount. No.
I don't know what it is. Anyway, but just don't screw stuff to your bike. Please don't. This one, however, is an excellent use of wood. This is from Sussex. You can't laugh at that. Come on. Sussex Physio Pilates. Why buy an expensive remote-controlled fan when a stick does the job? See, that's the bit of wood.
Yeah, well, is that a bodge? I mean, it presumably works, but it looks like a right
It's a bodge. I mean,
it
it is a bodge, but yeah, I mean, he could have fashioned his own Bluetooth remote that he'd printed at work, but no, he's used a stick. But anyway, it still works, I assume.
Next up, this from David, spotted on his holiday in Bruges. Great effort recycling old inner tubes. I would agree.
Yeah,
a
that's
cargo
amazing.
bike with recycled inner tubes. That's a hack from me.
Looks comfy to me. That looks
you want to
really
be sat on
comfy.
it, do you?
Well, yeah, it'd be like a trampoline, wouldn't it? Right, anyway, next up, we've got this one from John in Dallas, Texas. This is quite a brutal roadside mechanical. He broke and crunched his little chain ring and he was 10 miles from home. So he ditched the busted ring and this, I still can't quite get my head around it, but there's the picture. He used grass as a shim and got home with just 2 out of 5 chainring bolts left. Where are the other 3 chainring bolts? That's what I want to know. But nevertheless, that's some seriously good roadside hacking there. Yeah, I hope no one else ever has to do that, but still.
Yeah, well done for getting home. Well, now, could you have walked in the time it took him to do that, do you think? 10 miles. Right,
10
next
miles
up
is a
from
long way,
T.
mate.
Bruce. Just finished the final version of this, and it works great for holding time trial position on a road bike for extended periods of time.
Whoa, what is that? Is that 3D printed like forearm mount?
Looks like just a bit of rubber, doesn't it? You wouldn't want a hard 3D printed thing to put your elbow on, would you, surely?
Well, I don't know, but there's like grip tape and stuff on there as well. We need some more information, please, about this, but I'm wondering whether that's a hack.
We also can't encourage or condone resting on your bars like that away from the brakes out on open roads, I'm afraid.
Even with a 3D printed, potentially slightly rubber grippy thing.
No.
Yeah, no,
Not on. This from Tom Corbett, who was at Liège-Bastogne-Liège for the Sportive. Old tyres for a scratch-proof bike rack.
Nice,
Well done
good
to the organiser of that
recycling
one.
there, yeah.
Plenty of Portaloos.
I was just thinking that as well. That's good to see. There's nothing worse than queuing for a Portaloo, is there? Right, and then we've got this one from Elmer in Japan. My crash last week rendered the ratchet on my left shoe unusable. So whilst waiting for a replacement, I used this adjustable zip tie. Well, there we go. That's a bodge, isn't it? But anyway, nevertheless. Oh, I see. They're different ones.
They are different shoes. That's the same shoe, he said to me in rehearsals. That's why we've been looking slightly confused at the laptop. Oh,
I was going to say, that is an amazing transformation.
He was like, no, you've got to keep that in as a hack.
But
how
what
can
is
they
that
be the same shoes? One says Giro, the other one says City.
I'll admit that is quite a hack.
Right, moving on to this one from James Woods Music.
Can't just gloss over the amazing City shoes, Dan.
Well, look, somebody's painted their shoes. Sorry, that's from Osby.
They've made it into a lace-up.
They have done a good job. But anyway, we'll finish with this one.
Podge.
James Woods Music. Who used to have a physique saddle and then turned it into this one. No, he didn't. It's just a wooden saddle that you see on the street in Toronto in Canada.
That is terrifying. That is absolutely terrifying. Yeah.
Right, send your hacks and bodges using the uploader and the hashtag GCNHack on social media.
Yeah, and if you've got a pair of shoes that have unbelievably transformed from one brand into another, make sure you let us know. It's time now for the caption competition. At that point in the show where we give you a photo, you put a caption to it in the comment section down below, and the winner gets a GCN water bottle. This was last week's photo, and we will give you the winner right now, who was Grant Welch with "I thought I had a good photography joke, but it hasn't developed yet."
Anyone under the age of about 28 isn't going to understand that.
I was just thinking about that. Yeah, it's been a while since I've had a film developed, but anyway, there we go. Grant, bottle coming your way, mate.
Get in touch with your address so we can send it out to you. This week's photo is from the Amstel Gold Race, and it's Peter Sagan. Don't worry, lads. No, this race like the back of my hand. I know it's his palm, but it's the best I had.
Right, good. Yeah, no, we got. Well, maybe that could be part of the joke because he's got them lost. He didn't do very well at Amstel, didn't he? Pull out.
Yeah, didn't get to the finish.
He got lost
because
because
it was a genius caption, isn't it?
There we go.
Leave your best efforts in the comment section down below.
That sounds like a caption that needs explaining.
We will very shortly be letting you know what's coming up on GCN over the next 7 days. But as ever, before we do that, we've picked out a few of our favourite comments from the previous 7.
We have indeed. Some really nice comments under the Scotland North Coast 500 video. This one from...
Was that in Game of Thrones?
No, weirdly enough, it could have been. Could have been. From, oh crikey, there's a name. Ameryh Liathmore. Which probably doesn't sound anything like that. But anyway, he said, "This is terrible. Sutherland is my bug out location, and videos like this will attract even more folks to go there. You didn't mention, however, the now decommissioned fast breeder plutonium factory, or how it's Wickerman territory where folks from London can just disappear whilst riding their bicycles, never to be seen again. Mark also conveniently forgot to mention the predatory big cats. If you go into this part of the world, don't go alone and be safe. It's also extremely wet, damp, and the midges will eat you alive in summer." Yeah. So there we go, yeah.
I think he's just joking now. He's just trying to put people off going, isn't he?
No, I know. To be fair, it was one of those places where I genuinely did wonder whether we should be lifting the lid because it was that amazing. But anyway, there you go.
Did look amazing. Mike wrote in underneath the same video and put 10 years in Australia without being homesick for Scotland once until you mentioned stovies. Were they nice?
Well,
it was like a stew, you say?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It sounded like it would be like lots of different things on a plate, but no, it was just one like splodge of stew. But it was really very good indeed. And then Luke Stockton. Thanks, Luke. There's rough in the morning, then there's Simon Richardson rough in the morning. You try sleeping in a bog, in a bivvy bag.
We had a joke underneath our How to Make the Perfect Brew video from Stephen Jones. Why did the hipster burn his mouth? He drank his coffee before it was cool.
Hey! Boom! That's
Brilliant.
A cracking joke, isn't it?
And finally, Martin Live lookalike competition. Was it Chris or Ollie at the start of the video? Or we better ask John Travolta.
We better, hadn't we?
We haven't used that clip for a while.
We haven't. It's a classic.
Right, coming up on the channel this week then, starting with tomorrow, it is a brand new, never seen before bike. Can't tell you anything about it right now on the GCN show, but I promise you want to watch it. Ollie will reveal everything about that at midday BST.
Glad you carried on. This is Ollie will reveal everything. I was like, no, I don't want to see that.
Yeah, about the bike, about the bike. Well worth watching that one. On Thursday, it is how to do ultra endurance. We've got an expert in for that, didn't we? Mark Beaumont. Friday, as ever, is Ask GC Anything.
That's right. Then on Saturday, we've got a video called Don't Wear Underpants When Cycling and Other Unexpected Riding Tips. So make sure you check that one out. And then on Sunday, we've got a must watch. So it's another GCN health video. This time we speak to a top sports cardiologist to find out whether your heart is safe and how to make sure it is.
Monday is the Race News Show. Tuesday, of course, we'll be back in the set for the GCN Show. A quick reminder on the racing front, we have Eschborn, Frankfurt and the Tour of Yorkshire live in North America. And we've also got highlights of that and the Tour of Romandy next week all over the world.
And don't forget, we're getting on for the Giro. I mean, we're off to Italy next week. It's time now for Extreme Corner because, as you all know, we are getting towards the end of the show for this week. But this is a corker. This was from our mates over at GMBN. It's slightly mad, but basically it's called Death Grip 2, and it's where they took off their brakes from their bikes for a second time to ride down a hill.
Oh, this is brilliant.
I'm going to try and switch off my brain. That was smart. That's terrifying. Is he alright? He's alive.
Those guys are crazy mad, aren't
They are indeed. There was a suggestion that we should do that down too with our road bikes.
No chance.
No.
Well, like Niclas Bonifacio down in Cipressa.
I mean, he had brakes. I mean, imagine doing that with no
He didn't
brakes.
use them.
Did he not? Well, we could do Death Grip 3 down in Cipressa then. Come on, Brendon and Ollie Wilkins, fancy that? Oh yes, I bet you do. Right, that's probably the end of the show, isn't it, mate?
It is, so we're going to hand you to another video. In case you haven't already seen it, just down here, Si and I were taught how to make the perfect brew.
And how to taste it.